we drop into self-loathing, which isn't productive and doesn't help you or anyone else in the world. So even though your brain might think it's useful, it's not. Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andy Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. Hello, how are you? We are right in the middle of the summer to fall transition here. Last week we had scorching hot days and days I lived in a sweatshirt. It's so weird. So weird because I was born and raised in Phoenix. It's where I lived for over 40 years. And during COVID in 21, we sold our house in Phoenix. We moved to the mountains, and now I experience seasons, which has been such a treat. I love it. It feels magical. But also, it always surprises me when things like this happen. And in the evening, this is so different too. In the evening, I have to put a sweatshirt on. It cools down. Phoenix just doesn't fluctuate much. I'm sure there's times of years that it fluctuates more than others, but it's a 10 to maybe 20 degree fluctuation between night and day. And here it seems much greater. I want to say 40 degrees, but that might be ridiculous. But it can get chilly at night. So I hope you're having an amazing, amazing summer to fall transition, and that your kids are settling back into school if you're in the States. I think if you're in the UK or Europe, they start a little bit later. So maybe you're just getting close to starting the kids back to school. But here, everyone's back in school, and it's feeling like the end of summer is coming. So, all right, should we get to it? Today, I'm going to talk about making yourself proud. In the last episode, we talked about regret. And if you didn't hear that one, it was good. And I'm doing these 2 episodes as bookends. So regret on one end of the spectrum and proud on the other end of the spectrum. And I want to be clear about something. I am not talking about being arrogant or full of yourself. I'm not talking about thinking you're better than anyone else. I'm talking about feeling good about yourself, being willing to celebrate your successes and to see how clearly amazing and incredible of a creation you are, which has been excruciatingly hard for me. I used to not even be able to read nice comments that people shared with me about Connect Method Parenting. So I've been doing this. I've been teaching Connect Method Parenting since, this dates me, but part-time teaching friends since like 2018, which is crazy. I don't know how many years that's been, 6. And when I was just working with one-on-one clients, I often would get people to email in really kind things about their transformation, about things that were happening. And sometimes my husband would get wind of them, or he would read one of them, or I would say, oh my gosh, someone just said this, but I can't even read this email. And he would read them aloud and I would feel like vomiting. I had an adverse reaction to feeling proud or to feeling good about myself or what I was doing in the world. It was really crazy. I've worked through it. It's still something that creeps up sometimes. That's why I want to talk about it here, because I'm seeing this with so many of the parents I'm working with. There's this fear of being genuinely proud or excited about the successes, the wins, or just about how amazing they are, which often means lack of self-confidence and low self-worth and feeling lack of worthiness. I really feel passionate to do this episode and to make sure everyone who's listening can hear this, that I believe that the emotion of feeling good about yourself, feeling pride in the work you're doing, feeling proud of you is one of the best emotions we can feel. And remember, I'm not saying arrogant. I'm not saying full of myself. I'm not saying I think I'm better than anyone else. In fact, the more pride we have in ourselves and the more we can recognize the good that we're doing, the more we can see it in the people in our lives. I think it's one of my most favorite emotions now that I've come to terms with it, that it's okay to be proud of myself, that it's not synonymous with judging someone else. It actually creates less judgment when I can feel proud of myself. I can feel more proud of other people. There's no comparison. There's no race to achieve something. And that's what I want for my kids, is to feel proud of themselves, to feel confident in themselves, to look at their hard work and how much effort they put into learning something for school or doing something for a sport or activity or hobby that they're working on, and be able to honestly look at it and say, wow, this is amazing. It doesn't matter if they achieve amazing results. It's the process of me working towards this and learning what it takes to show up in this way, to put myself out there, to try to learn a new skill, to study so hard on a test, and to whether I do well or whether I fail. Like, I can feel proud of the work I put into it. I want them to know how incredible they are, regardless of what they do or don't do, whether they win or lose, whether they are super creative and create beautiful art, or whether their art looks more like finger painting. I don't care. I just want them to put in their hardest work. So we've got to model this for them, because they are going to learn how to feel confident and proud and to celebrate themselves based on how we do at it. Are we showing them an example of what that looks like? Are we helping them see that this is a productive and useful way to show up in the world? Because if we can do that, then we can go fill the world with more love. We can go fill the world with more potential. We can go out into the world with this energy of, I'm amazing and so are you. I'm working hard and I can see that you're working hard. We don't have to put anybody down. So I love the word love. Of course, that feels good. But there's something different about pride, or feeling proud of myself, that's different and creates something different in my life. I was just talking to a client who, after a lot of second guessing, stood up to her mother-in-law about a boundary she needed to set. It was really hard. It was scary for her to do it, but it was a boundary she wanted to set. And she did it. And we were talking afterwards, and she was going through the scenario and telling me all the things that had happened. And she was so proud of herself for being true to herself, for doing something hard, and for doing it in a way she respected. And I was so proud of her too. I was talking to another client during office hours. We do office hours 3 to 4 times a week in my programs. And she was sharing that she had been previously really triggered by her kids not picking up their rooms or doing their chores. But one afternoon, when her kids hadn't done their chores, she was sharing how she was able to stay calm. She was able to stay connected to herself, stay connected to her kids. And instead of losing her temper, she was so proud of herself because she stayed calm, was able to go through what we call the seen and heard approach, where she looked at them in their eyes, she gave them a direction, she set the limit, she bridged at the end. She was really, really thrilled with herself. And I was really, really thrilled with herself. I was also really grateful that she was able to be thrilled with herself without diminishing herself. So many times on office hours, someone's raised their hand and we're talking and we're coaching and they can't celebrate themselves. They share something that was good and then they immediately take 2 steps back and criticize themselves. Or they'll say something in passing as if it's no big deal. And I'll say, wait, you just completely sidestepped a huge win. And then we'll unpack it and they'll realize what a profound shift had just happened. And we take a minute and I hold that space for them to be proud of themselves. And this is important. We have to practice the skill of being proud. A lot of us got misdirected about what pride is. And yes, some people can use pride to puff themselves up and to be arrogant and to use it as a way to artificially inflate their impression of themselves and try to get validation from external sources. That's not at all what I'm talking about here. I'm saying we're using pride to self-validate, to self-affirm, and to show up as a person who's really taking care of themselves so they can really show up for their kids, show up for their friends, show up for their family, show up for their life, because they don't need these people outside of them to tell them they're great. They have this confidence. They can see the goodness in what they're doing. And we're marrying it with what we talked about in the last episode, where we're also looking and self-confronting and saying, hey, I don't love how that happened, and I'm going to learn and grow from that. So it's not about perfection, but it is about recognizing, yeah, that was hard. I did something really great, and I'm 1,000% giving myself permission to feel proud about that. I struggled with giving myself permission to feel proud of myself so much that I've really, really had to work on this over the last decade plus. It's been a struggle for me. It has been a process. I was so comfortable, so practiced, so addicted to beating myself up versus noticing my success. I couldn't even talk about anything good I had done. So in the beginning, for me, it was so hard to see my success that I challenged myself to be proud of myself for living, really, for just doing anything, getting out of bed, getting dressed, taking a shower, going on a walk, anything. I just had to get into the habit of saying, yeah, I'm doing something positive in the world. I'm not a complete failure. As time went on, I started practicing feeling proud of myself for not getting triggered when the kids left the messes out, which was a huge trigger for me, or for doing a good job to stop myself from just going. I'm a list maker. I like to take action, and I used to prioritize my list of things to do over connecting with the kids. And so when I started practicing being proud of myself, because my priority was to stop what I was doing and connect with my kids. So I'd be proud of myself for connecting with my kids over doing this list, because I knew at the end of the night I would be regretting if I hadn't done the connection. So I was proud of myself for in the moment being able to make that decision. I feel really proud of myself about this current pivot we're doing and the content we're diving into and the coaching that's happening inside of League, both the pivot people and the mastery parents that are in there deep diving. I think we've done a really good job at curating that. And every week I ask for honest feedback from everybody participating in the pivot. So they're giving me honest feedback. They're giving me wins that they've had. And I love that we're both improving and looking at what's happening and self-confronting over the things that could be improved, and also celebrating the heck out of ourselves and the parents who are in there. I feel so proud of the parents who are in Pivot and Mastery and for how they're showing up, and so proud of myself for how I'm showing up. We have 3 to 4 live calls every week where we're getting coaching and feedback, and we're working on deep stuff. I mean, I'm so proud of the parents that show up and raise their hand and ask questions that I know are not easy to ask. And I'm just honored and so grateful and proud of them for how they're showing up in their life. And it is the process of showing up like that in the office hours where we're doing coaching and questions and iterating and role playing, that awareness that comes out of those conversations that propels you to the next level. And so feeling the confidence that comes from, hey, I'm going to show up this way and I'm going to get what I need to be the parent I want. And linking it to the last episode we did and saying, yeah, and I would regret not asking this question. So using regret in a productive way, in a way that you feel proud of. See how these 2 episodes just bleed together. I also feel really proud of the support we give people inside of our programs with the texting support, the feedback in the app. I also love, and I feel so proud about the new workbook that we rolled out this round of the pivot. It's just fantastic. And the workbook I just created for CMP Mastery, by the time this goes live, you'll already have gotten it, but it's attachment theory workbook that's so good. So I also feel really proud about the way I'm taking care of myself and my family and the risks I'm taking. Personally, it feels very vulnerable to do some of the things I'm doing to get Connect Method parenting out into the world, into more hands, but I'm proud of myself. I can handle the pushback. I can handle comments that come in, and it's the capacity to feel proud is something you have to develop. It comes right along with the capacity to handle the pushback and the discomfort and the possible regret and criticism. So proud of all of you that are showing up for your kids. And especially if you're in one of my programs, I'm so proud of you. So feeling pride is an emotion that I make a very conscious effort to create. It does not come naturally to me. Even as I'm speaking this on the podcast today for you all, I can sense my body being uncomfortable with the way I'm talking about it, because this is such a stretch for me. This has been such a skill, a capacity that I've had to develop that is not innate, or at least did not, I think it was when I was little, ironically, but not as I've become an adult. I kind of lost it with parenting. I lost a lot of my confidence because it was going so terribly, and I've had to rebuild that. So I want you to think about what would make you feel proud. Now, when I ask you this question, my guess is you immediately think of something you could do, right? And I just gave you a kind of a list of things that I had done that I felt proud of. So it's a good way of thinking about it. But one of the things I want you to notice is that it's not doing the things that makes you feel proud. It's how you think about it, how you think about having done the thing, or the thing that you are doing, or the thing that you did in the past, or the thing that you are going to do in the future. And so that's kind of a trip, right? So you think about your past, and I can think of a lot of things in my past that I'm not very proud of. But what I am proud of is I went to nursing school and I graduated. Hallelujah. It was a beautiful experience. I loved my nursing school experience, and I pushed myself through fast. I'm also proud of the guy that I broke up right before I started dating my husband again. You know who you are. I love you, but I'm so glad I broke up with you because it allowed me to date my husband again. I'm so proud of some of the conversations I've had in my life, the hard ones, the beautiful ones, the ones that create deep connection, the ones that are born out of huge amounts of pain. It's the way that you think, though, about all of your actions that makes you feel the emotion of pride. It's the way that you think about what you're doing right now that makes you feel proud. It's the way that you think about the things that you did in the past that makes you feel proud. And here's what's super cool. When you think about what you're going to do in your future, when you think about your future plans, you can feel proud. Now, the only way for you or me to feel pride is in this moment right now. So even though I might be thinking of something in the past, or I might be thinking of something in the present, or thinking about something in the future, the only thing that's creating that emotion is my thought about that action. And that's true for our emotional state. Some are conscious and some are subconscious, but there's always a filter, a program, a belief that's embedded subconsciously or consciously. So for those of you who think you can't feel proud, first of all, you can definitely find something in your past to feel proud about, but you can find something in your present and future as well. And when you're willing to feel proud of yourself for getting yourself to the gym, getting your work done, paying a bill, sending someone a text, doing your laundry, for showing up every day, when you're willing to feel proud about those things, it's a gift. It's a gift that you're giving yourself because you're taking time to feel proud on purpose. You're reprogramming your brain. And I want you to think about how hungry most of us humans are to feel proud. We grew up wanting other people to feel proud of us, our parents, our teachers, our friends, our siblings, our grandparents. And a lot of us seek approval because we want just someone, please, someone feel proud of me so that I can feel good. And the best news ever is we can learn to give ourselves that emotion. So when I ask you the question, what would make you feel proud? The only answer can be a thought because thoughts create our emotions. So if you think you have to do something in order to feel proud of yourself, you're wrong. It's absolutely the opposite. It's when you feel proud of yourself, that you take more action that will create more confidence, more pride. Feeling proud, confident, capable, that happens when you look at your accomplishments, you look at yourself and what you've been through, and you see that you have shown up. You have made progress. You recognize that you're doing your best, even if your best isn't where you want it to be yet. And sometimes moms will come on, or dads will come on the call, but typically us moms are the pros at this, and we'll say something great and then we'll diminish it immediately. I did this great thing, but I can't be celebrating that because I also did this terrible thing. Or I did better yesterday than today. So, I'm not doing very good. Stop, you guys, stop. It's not helping. Even if we didn't show up at our full capacity, you can still be proud of it. You can still feel proud of yourself because it was your best in that moment. And that's worth celebrating. And this leads to a calmer nervous system, more capacity to evaluate and learn, and more growth. So celebrate yourself. Feel proud about the things you're doing. Don't be afraid that if you do that, you're preventing yourself from showing up better the next day. You're actually increasing the possibility of you showing up better the next day. I mean, sometimes we just need to be proud for getting out of the bed today, literally. There was a period of time, 10-ish years ago, when I got hit really hard by something. It's a pretty big thing in my life. And getting out of bed, showing up for my kids, and making it through the day was a huge win. My laundry was piling up. My cars were filthy. I wasn't returning messages. And there for a few minutes, and there for a few months, that was the best I could do. That was enough. And I can feel proud about how I showed up. Have there been other times where I've been far more capable of showing up in my life? Yes. But I'm not any more proud of those moments than I am during that period of time where just getting out of bed, showing up for my kids, and making it through the day was all I could do. I'm so proud of myself for that. In that period of time, I figured out what mattered most. I created a bare minimum standard, aka what I needed to do every day at the very minimum to feel proud of myself and how I showed up. And I made it my goal to just do the bare minimum of things, which was get out of bed, show up for my kids, make it through the day, and connect with them. Sometimes that looked like me just looking at them in the eyes, saying something to them, maybe playing Mario Kart. That was the big rage back then. Laying on the couch with them, watching a show, reading a book, painting. And even though the house was a mess, the cars were destroyed, and I was tuning out the rest of the world for this period of time, I didn't judge myself for that. I learned to be proud of what I could do, what I wanted to do. And looking back, I was dang proud of myself. Now, when you look up self-pride online, it says a feeling of pleasure or satisfaction as the results of one's achievements. And I think those achievements can be past, they can be present, or they can be future. And I don't think they have to be huge. I don't think you have to completely change the entire world in order to be proud of yourself. Saying sorry for losing your cool to the kids last night, for saying something unkind to the kids, something to be proud of. Excusing yourself when you're getting triggered instead of sticking around and going into lecture mode, be proud of that. Looking at the laundry room and then just closing the door and walking away and not letting it overwhelm you, be proud of that. Seeing a kid's bedroom totally destroyed and not going into judgment and frustration, something I was so proud of myself for. It was a huge win for me. When you change one little thing in your life, one little thing in your corner of the world, you can feel proud of yourself for that. For me, I want to believe that I'm leaving the world a little better than I found it. I'm adding value, I'm contributing, I'm connecting in a way that I can say is selfless. I'm showing up for my kids. I'm never shaming them. I'm checking my own emotions. I'm understanding my own mind so I can leave room for theirs. I'm consistently connecting. I'm choosing closeness when they're in off-track behavior mode. Those are 3 CMP strategies right there that I just listed. But me being able to do those 3 things, I'm very proud of myself when I do that. I'm very proud of the parents I work with when they do that, even if it's just a slight shift in one of those areas, just an awareness around how they could improve. I'm so proud of them. I have so many reasons that I can find to be proud of. And that's something I really want to encourage you to do in your life, is to look for reasons to be proud of yourself, because that is what will teach your kids to do that for themselves. Inside League in both Pivot and Mastery, we've done some work on self-appreciation, and it's a similar concept, right? It's training your brain to be proud, to self-appreciate. It's something that I train myself to do, something I train my kids to do through my example. I tell them how proud I am of them for the person they're being, not that they're better or, not in a comparative way, but just I'm so proud of them. But that's something that seems to come so much more naturally to some of us when it comes to other people, especially to our kids. But what about ourselves? Are you able to look at yourself and find reasons to be proud of? If not, that is your assignment today. Write a list of things that you can be proud of, because if you want your kids to feel proud and confident of themselves and have self-assurance and go out into the world and make a difference, to be able to self-generate that feeling of satisfaction and have the ability to self-validate, you've got to show them what that looks like. You've got to be the example of that. So what are you proud of for yourself today? And when you can think about that question, you're going to have a lot of thoughts that are going to help you start to practice the feeling of pride. They're going to create more pride within yourself, which will, of course, lead to many more things that you can then see that you should be proud of. The other way pride was defined, and the definition I looked up, was having a high opinion of one's actions. Now, I think this is fascinating because it doesn't say that you have some amazing accomplishment or that your actions were exemplary or profound or anything like that. It just says that you have a high opinion of your actions. When I can have a high opinion of my actions, I can have a high opinion of other people's actions. It's not a comparing thing. It's an abundance mindset. I feel abundant and capable and confident. I feel this way towards myself. I can feel this way towards others. Now, a lot of parents will feel resistance to that because you might feel that that's bragging or boastful or contrived. That's what I used to think. All of those things. And after years of working on this, I would completely disagree. I think looking down on yourself is contrived. I think looking at your accomplishments as insignificant is contrived. It's not useful. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't create more goodness in the world. It doesn't create more love. It doesn't create more confidence. All it does is create a sense of not feeling proud, of not giving yourself the pleasure of the emotion of accomplishment, or of being able to feel like I am accomplished. I have done something good. And like I said, Sometimes you can have that feeling of pride for just getting up in the morning, for taking care of yourself, for taking care of your family, for eating something healthy. The other thing that I would add here is I think a lot of times we're either proud of ourselves or we hate ourselves. We drop into self-loathing, which isn't productive and doesn't help you or anyone else in the world. So even though your brain might think it's useful, it's not. Feel it, honor that emotion, let it go. Transmute, metabolize that emotion into acceptance, curiosity, compassion, openness. Let it catapult you into something new, into more belief about yourself instead of less belief about yourself. One of the things that I want to offer is that being a little proud of yourself every day or being proud of yourself once a week is better than not being able to tap into that emotion at all, right? And so I want you to look for those pockets where you can be proud of yourself, where you know you put the dishes in the sink maybe instead of left them on the table. You got the kids bathed tonight. You got yourself dressed, whatever it is. That might be all you can muster for the day. There have been times in my life where that's all I can muster. And if we can practice taking time in those moments and not feeling that shame or beating ourselves up or hating ourselves, but instead practice being proud of ourselves and start to accumulate those moments of pride in ourselves, we will be far better off. We will be able to lead and love and connect with our kids and ourselves in a higher capacity. And also, I want to be clear that when we're proud of ourselves, when we feel proud of our kids, it doesn't mean we think we're better than other people. I want to just say this again, because this is such a misnomer. It doesn't mean that when we're proud of ourselves, it's at the expense of someone else. We aren't one-upping ourselves. To me, learning to be proud and confident and self-validate myself allows me to be more proud, confident, and accepting of everyone else. So it increases my capacity to love and accept, not decreases. I start to think, I'm pretty awesome today, and so are you. I'm feeling really proud of myself, and I'm really proud of you too. I see the goodness here. I see the goodness there. We can be proud of ourselves and proud of everybody else. It's not a competition. It's an emotion that we want to develop. In fact, the more proud I am of myself, the more proud I am of everyone else. It creates powerful momentum. And the last part of this, and this is something I tell parents in League a lot, is to make yourself proud. You make yourself proud by finding the emotion of pride and then making a plan to feel it. So you know in your future you will be proud of what you attempted to do. And notice I said attempted. You'll be proud of your effort. You will have a high opinion of your actions. That was part of the definition, a high opinion of your actions. It didn't say anything about the result. It doesn't have to be the result. You don't have to have a high opinion of the result. It doesn't matter if you get the result. You can still, regardless of the result, you can have a high opinion of your actions. So let me tell you the difference. You may set a goal of not yelling with your kids today. And at the end of the day, maybe you yelled once or twice. Don't deny yourself of feeling proud of yourself just because you weren't able to get it perfect today and not yell at all. Instead, feel proud of the effort you put into the process of trying not to yell, of all the work that you did to notice when you were feeling like you might yell and then you didn't. Feel proud of the awareness you had around when you did yell and why that happened. Feel proud of the commitment you're making to try to not yell again tomorrow. Feel proud of the desire you had not to yell. I mean, even just that. It might feel small and not worthy of feeling proud about, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Having the desire to change is the first step towards change, and it's worth celebrating. We talked about regret in the last episode. We talked about being able to use that emotion of regret to create something better in the future, more awareness, more acceptance, more curiosity, more commitment. And it's the same with feeling proud. If you fast forwarded a year or 10 years, what would make you the most proud of yourself? What would you feel the most pride about something that you had accomplished that was easy, or something that you had attempted to accomplish that was hard, that you'd put a ton of effort into, had learned so many things about yourself by showing up over and over and over again and trying not to yell, by all the strategic byproducts that you had learned along the way, every time you messed up and failed over and over and over again, that completely transformed and changed the trajectory of your life? What if feeling pride when you mess up and keep going is one of the things you should feel the most pride about? Now, let me ask you this question. How do you make yourself feel proud in this moment? It's with your thinking, which of course will lead to an emotional experience. What thoughts would you need to think and believe to feel proud of yourself? And then what actions will you take and what results will you create if you were thinking that? I think the more we focus on thoughts and actions that create pride for us, those emotions will fuel us into doing more pride-making activities. And the happier we're ultimately going to be in our life, because the more we evolve, the more we put ourselves out there, the more we try to parent with connection, not correction, the more we love our kids hard despite what they're doing, the more we lean into self-validation and feel proud of ourselves, the more we try to create amazing relationships with our kids, regardless of how easy or hard they make it, the more interesting our lives will become, the more we will grow. It's easy to love someone who's easy to love. It's when we are trying to love someone that's challenging that we increase our capacity to love. And we might fail along the way and have judgments and all of the things that are not looking like love, but we're working towards increasing our capacity to love somebody. That's something to be proud of. The more fear we have to overcome, the more obstacles we have to get over, the more pride we can feel. Most of us aren't proud of ourselves when we are looking at the challenges and the struggles. And I'm inviting you to be proud of all of the missteps and the trips and the failures, quote unquote, and the things that don't look like they're going the right way. One of the things I'm always saying to the parents I'm working with is we can do this hard thing. We can do this hard thing. That's how we get to pride. How do we get to pride? Is we decide, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be proud of myself regardless of the result. I'm going to be proud of myself for the actions I take in an attempt to create this result in my life. And then we're proud of ourselves because we did it. We take that courage, and then afterwards we can be proud of ourselves for having done it regardless of the result. So I want to encourage each of you to ask yourself, what would make me feel proud today? Start thinking in that way now. Start making plans to do things and then have a high opinion of your actions. Nobody can take your opinion away of yourself. So don't do what anyone else wants you to do. Don't be in an effort. Don't do things to make someone else proud. What would make you proud? When you answer that question, you're going to know exactly where you want to go with your life and with your parenting. And regardless of the result, you can have pride in the effort and the actions you take to get you one step closer to there. The actions you take to get you one step closer to your goal. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, you're going to want to check out the 8-week parenting pivot, which is the first phase of my program, the League of Extraordinarily Connected Parents. We're opening up a new round in October. So if you're listening to this live, it's going to be October 7th. If you're listening to this and that date has passed, go check out the website, connectmethodparenting.com, and we'll list the next time we're opening. But if you're listening to this live, go check it out because you can already apply and get accepted into the next round so that you can lock yourself in place to have a huge shift with your kids, to get them to want to listen to you, which is very different than using punishments, rewards, timeouts, ultimatums to get them to listen to you. We want it to be more cooperative. We want better listening. We want a great relationship, and we want to have a ton of fun when we're parenting. So if that's what you want, if what I talked about in this episode resonated, jump over to cmp.works/pivot. I'll put the link in the show notes as well, and find out more about the pivot, apply to join, and we'll let you know if you get in. All right. Until next time, go connect with your kids, have a blast, and pop back in for another episode soon about how to use connection, not correction, to get your kids to want to listen to you. See you later. Bye.